everyone, and welcome back to another episode of E-commerce Clearly. Over the last few days, I've been diving into three very different reports. One from Myntra on its latest end of season sale, one from GoQuick analyzing over 20 lakh orders during end of season sale on multiple D2C platforms, and one from Flipkart exploring the future of India's beauty industry. At first glance, these reports seem completely unrelated. One talks about fashion, one talks about retention, and one talks about beauty. But after spending time with all three, I realized they're actually telling the same story. A story about where the next phase of Indian e-commerce growth is coming from, and more importantly, a story about how the Indian consumer is changing. Because the next decade of e-commerce won't be defined by who gets the most customers online, it will be defined by who understands consumers the best. So let's get into it. For years, Indian e-commerce growth was driven by one simple objective: get more people online, get more people comfortable with digital payments, get more people to place their first online order. That phase worked. Today, India has hundreds of millions of online shoppers, but now we're entering a different phase. And Myntra's latest end of recent sales gives us a glimpse into what the future looks like. The sale saw strong growth in first time shoppers. D2C brands witnessed meaningful demand growth, and perhaps most importantly, a large share of this growth came from Tier 2 and Tier 3 markets. This isn't the first report to highlight that trend. In fact, almost every major e commerce report released over the past 2 years points towards the same conclusion. India's next wave of consumption isn't just coming from Mumbai, Delhi, and Bangalore. It's coming from Surat, Indore, Lucknow, Jaipur, Patna, Coimbatore, Nagpur, and hundreds of other cities across Bharat. The internet may have connected India, but for now, Bharat is beginning to shape what India buys, and that changes everything because consumers from different regions enter categories at scale. They bring different needs, different aspirations, and different purchasing behaviors. Which brings me to the second part, the Go Quick EOSS report. And honestly, this was probably the most surprising one because it challenged one of the biggest assumptions in e commerce, the assumption that sales are primarily acquisition events. The report analyzed more than 20 lakh orders and found that nearly 78% of all EOOS orders came from returning customers. Think about that. Almost 4 out of every 5 orders were placed by people who had already bought from the brand before. Not only that, returning shoppers spent more than first time shoppers, and together they contributed nearly 80% of the revenue generated during the sale. Now, if you're a brand owner, that statistic should make you pause because it suggests that the brands winning sale events aren't necessarily the ones spending the most money on ads. They're often the ones that have built strong customer relationships long before the sale starts. In other words, EOSS isn't really an acquisition event, it's a retention event disguised as a sale. And the implications are huge because if the majority of revenue comes from existing customers, then most valuable marketing asset isn't your ad budget, it's your customer database, it's your CRM, it's your WhatsApp strategy, it's your ability to bring customers back. And the report becomes even more interesting when you look at the categories. Beauty and personal care generated the highest volume of orders among the categories studied, and that's important because beauty behaves differently from fashion. Fashion purchases are often event driven, a wedding, a vacation, a festival, a new season. Beauty purchases are habit driven. Your sunscreen finishes, your moisture runs out, your shampoo needs replenishment. Every finished product creates another purchase opportunity, and that's why categories like beauty can become incredibly powerful because they create repeat behavior, not just transaction. Which brings us to the third and most fascinating report, Flipkart's annual beauty trends report. And if there was one sentence that summarized the entire report for me, it would be this: beauty in India is no longer about aspiration. It's increasingly about self care. For decades, marketing revolved around transformation: look better, become fairer, become younger, become more attractive. But today's consumers seem to be approaching beauty differently. They are researching ingredients, they understand niacinamide, they talk about skin barriers, they compare active ingredients, they watch a lot of dermat content, they evaluate efficacy. Beauty is becoming India's one of the most educated consumer categories, and the numbers support that shift. Beauty and personal care continues to be one of the fastest growing categories in India. Demand is rising rapidly. Fragrance searches are growing. Male grooming is gaining momentum. Gen Z already accounts for more than half of beauty shoppers, and 2 out of every 3 beauty searches now come from non metro markets. Think about what that means. One of India's fastest growing consumer categories is increasingly being shaped by young consumers outside traditional metros. That's a massive shift. But what fascinated me wasn't the category growth, it was a consumer psychology behind it. One section of the report explores the idea that there is no longer one beauty consumer. Instead, beauty today consists of multiple shopper personalities, and I think this framework applies far beyond beauty. Let's look at a few of them. First, the ingredient investigator. This is the consumer who reads labels, researches formulations, compares active ingredients, and studies reviews, and often knows as much about skincare ingredients as a beauty consultant. For this consumer, information builds trust. Then there's routine builder. For them, beauty isn't a purchase, it's a ritual, a daily habit, a form of self care. The value isn't in transformation, it's in consistency. Then comes the trend explorer, the consumer who discovers products through Instagram, YouTube, creators, and social media conversations. Their shopping journey begins with content, not with search, not with marketplaces, with content. And then there is the problem solver, the consumer looking for specific solutions: pigmentation, hair fall, humidity damage, hard water, scalp issues, sun protection. They aren't buying beauty, they're buying outcomes. And finally, the expression seeker. For them, beauty is creativity, identity, experimentation. The goal isn't perfection, the goal is self expression. And now, here's why this matters. For years, beauty brands tried to speak to everyone. But when markets mature, consumers become more nuanced. And when consumers become more nuanced, categories fragment. The future doesn't belong to brands that sell one message to everyone. It belongs to brands that deeply understand specific consumer mindsets. And that's exactly what we are starting to see. The report introduces another concept that I found incredibly powerful, something called pin code beauty. The idea that consumers in different parts of India experience beauty differently. Someone living in Rajasthan has different skincare concerns compared to someone living in Kerala. Consumers in Bangalore increasingly talk about hard water damage. Consumers in humid regions worry about completely different problems compared to consumers in dry climates. Beauty is now becoming hyperlocal, and I think that's a preview of where many consumer categories are heading today. Because as markets mature, consumers don't want generic solutions, they want relevant solutions, products designed around their reality, their city, their lifestyle, their climate, and their routines. And that's where the biggest opportunities will emerge. When we put all three reports together, a clear picture starts to emerge. Mintra shows us where growth is coming from. Bharat. Go Quick shows us how growth is being sustained, retention. And Flipkart shows us why people buy. Identity, self care, community, and personalization. Different motivations for different consumers. To me, this signals that Indian e commerce has entered its second growth phase. The first phase was all about getting consumers online. The second phase is about understanding them, understanding where they live, how they shop, and why they buy. And the brands that can do all three of these consistently will define the next decade of Indian e commerce. Not the brands with the biggest discounts, not the brands with the largest ad budgets, the brands with the deepest consumer understanding. And that's what makes this moment so exciting, because we are no longer just watching e commerce grow, we are watching the consumer in India evolve. And that's a far bigger story. And that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow. Until next time, keep learning, keep experimenting, and keep building. See you in the next episode. Bye bye.